Chapter 40. Rook takes Nebula. Rook's fleet, over 100 ships strong with the Mortifera at its vanguard, made its daring advance into the Nebula after jumping into its solar system from the Crinus cluster. Each vessel, crewed by space lords, braced for the unpredictable and perilous journey ahead. The Nebula, a vast expanse of gas clouds, gravitational anomalies, and time distortions, was a formidable obstacle, a cosmic labyrinth that had claimed many ships in the past. Aboard the Mortifera, Rook stood at the helm, his gaze unwavering as he faced the maelstrom before him. His hands moved with a seasoned pilot's expertise, navigating through the ever-changing sector of space. The holographic display created a mesmerizing yet dangerous dance of colors and movements, a visual testament to the Nebula's chaotic nature. His crew of seasoned warriors and skilled technicians stood ready for battle. The atmosphere was tense, each space lord acutely aware of the risks, yet driven by their shared mission. They were not just fighting for victory. They were fighting to end the Drexarians that had long enslaved them. As the Mortifera and its accompanying fleet ventured deeper, the true challenge of the Nebula revealed itself. The gravitational forces grew more intense, tugging at the ships with increasing ferocity. Time seemed to warp around them, creating disorienting effects that tested even the most experienced pilots. Rook, his focus unwavering, issued commands with calm authority. "Steady," he called out. "Adjust thrusters to compensate for the gravity wells. Keep formation tight." The Space Lords responded with admirable precision, with the fleet moving as one, a collective entity navigating the Nebula's treacherous terrain. Despite their preparation, the Nebula was relentless. A particularly powerful gravity well suddenly emerged, its pull threatening to engulf the nearest ships. Rook, sensing the imminent danger, barked out orders. "Full reverse thrusters! Evasive maneuvers now!" The crew reacted instantly, the ship straining against the gravitational pull. For a moment, it seemed as though the Mortifera would be lost, but Rook's skillful piloting and the crew's quick response saved them from being swallowed by the Nebula. The encounter was a stark reminder of the peril they faced, not just from the Drexarians, but from the cosmos itself. Yet, Rook did not waver. His eyes remained fixed on the path ahead, the mission driving him forward. Days into their perilous journey through the Nebula, Rook and his fleet of over 100 ships faced increasingly treacherous conditions. The deeper they ventured into the Nebula, the more intense and unpredictable the gravitational wells and time distortions became. Rook, standing at the helm of the Mortifera, rallied his troops, his voice cutting through the tension that gripped the ship. "Stay alert," Rook commanded, his eyes scanning the holographic simulation of the space in front of them. "This Nebula is trying to tear us apart, but we are Space Lords. We will not falter. We will not fail." They navigated through the swirling maelstrom of gas clouds. A sudden and intense gravitational well bubble emerged directly in their path. The ships, caught off guard, struggled to adjust their trajectories. Rook, with quick reflexes, steered the Mortifera, narrowly avoiding a collision with the bubble. But the Nebula had more in store for them. A time distortion bubble, undetected by their sensors, enveloped a section of the Armada. Within this bubble, time flowed differently. For some ships, time accelerated, causing onboard systems to operate at breakneck speeds. For others, time slowed to a crawl, leaving them vulnerable and exposed. The Mortifera, caught in one of these time distortion bubbles, experienced a rapid acceleration of time. This sudden shift put immense strain on the ship's propulsion drive, a sophisticated system designed for normal space-time conditions. The drive, unable to cope with the accelerated temporal flow, began to fail, its components overheating and malfunctioning. "Engineering report!" Rook barked into the comm system, his voice steady despite the growing crisis. "Commander, the propulsion drive is failing," came the frantic reply from engineering. "The time distortion is overloading the system. We're trying to compensate, but it's falling apart." Rook's mind raced for solutions. "Divert all non-essential power to the drive. Keep us moving at all costs," he ordered, his gaze fixed on the chaos unfolding outside. The crew worked feverishly to stabilize the drive, rerouting power and attempting manual overrides. Around them, other ships in the Armada faced similar challenges, some drifting helplessly, others spinning out of control. Despite the dire situation, the Space Lords refused to succumb to panic. Trained for the harshest of conditions, they fought to regain control of their ships. With the Mortifera steadying its course, emerging from the tumult of the time distortion, Rook's eyes narrowed on the holographic display that dominated the command center. The screen, a complex web of data and visualizations, showed an alarming increase in gravitational well bubbles. They pulsed and swirled around them, a minefield of cosmic anomalies that threatened to ensnare the fleet. Rook, sensing the escalating danger, reached out through their psychic communication system, his mind connecting with the other Space Lords commanders across the fleet. "Report in," he demanded, his mental voice projecting urgency. "Has anyone identified a Draxarian base or ship amidst this chaos?" The responses came in quick succession, a chorus of negatives that painted a grim picture. No sign of the enemy, just an ever-increasing number of gravitational wells that complicated their mission. Rook's jaw tightened. The absence of Draxarian forces was as concerning as their presence would have been. It suggested that they were either exceedingly well hidden, or this was indeed the trap they had feared. "Stay alert," Rook broadcasted to the fleet. "We proceed, but with caution. Keep an eye out for any anomalies that don't fit the pattern." The fleet continued to navigate the treacherous expanse of the Nebula, their ships weaving and dodging through the gravitational wells. Each pilot displayed remarkable skill, handling their vessels with a blend of precision and daring that was characteristic of the Space Lords. Despite their careful progress, the density of the gravitational wells was rapidly becoming overwhelming. The Nebula seemed to be closing in on them, its natural dangers amplified by the potential threat of a hidden enemy. Rook, at the helm of the Mortifera, kept a steady hand on the controls, his mind working furiously to chart a course through the increasingly hazardous environment. His eyes flicked back and forth between the view screen and the navigational data, analyzing, predicting, and adjusting their trajectory with every new challenge. The situation was a test of not just their physical capabilities, but their mental resilience. The unknowns of the Nebula, coupled with the absence of the Draxarian threat, created a tension that hummed through the fleet. Every Space Lord knew the stakes. They were not just navigating a celestial hazard, but potentially walking into an elaborate trap set by a cunning and ruthless enemy. Rook's gaze was fixed on the holographs displaying the chaotic dance of the Nebula when he signaled his communications officer. "Get me Galactic Warden Cora," he ordered, his voice resonating with the importance of their situation. Within moments, the quantum entanglement communication link established a connection, bridging the vast distance between Rook's fleet in the Nebula and Cora in the Crinus cluster, bridging the gap between their psychic system and vastness of space. "Cora, this is Rook," he began, his voice clear and focused. "We're deep in the Nebula, but so far there's no sign of Zahak or any Draxarian base. The journey's been hazardous, with gravitational wells and time distortions at every turn, just as the Sirens of Tenebris said it would be." Cora's response filled with concern. "Rook, how are your ships holding up? We've had no activity in the home system, according to Nakia's reports. The decision is yours. Continue the search or pull back and regroup in the Crinus cluster." Rook contemplated the options, weighing the risks against the potential gains. "There are 3 possibilities," he replied. "First, Zahak is observing us, making sure we're committed to this search before attacking Earth. Second, he's here, but we haven't located him yet. Or third, the information we received was a deception. I don't trust anything sourced from a Draxarian." Cora, understanding Rook's skepticism, offered words of encouragement. "Your caution is wise, Rook, but remember, we've come this far by trusting in our instincts and our ability to adapt. Whatever decision you make, know that you have the full support of the Space Lords. We trust your judgment." Rook, bolstered by Cora's words, made his decision. "We'll continue the search a while longer. If Zahak is here, we'll find him. If it's a trap, we'll be ready. I won't lead my fleet into disaster, but I won't turn back on a hunch. We need to be certain. Cora acknowledged his resolve. Understood, Rook. Stay vigilant and keep us updated. We're all counting on you. The communication ended, leaving Rook to contemplate their next move. The Nebula, with its hidden dangers and secrets, was a formidable adversary, but Rook was determined to uncover the truth, whatever it might be. The fleet continued its cautious advance through the nebula, the space lords aboard each ship prepared for any eventuality.